When we came into the village, we purposely didn't come in the front way because my father said they'll think Jesus Christ is coming back. But we went in the back way, and within a second, the whole village was assembled, and they said, "We can't believe, where do you come from?" So even though they tell you nobody knew anything, they all knew where you're coming from after 3 years. So one of his friends said, "You can stay in our house," because he had an empty apartment.
A non-Jewish friend?
Non-Jewish friend. Someone that was in the First World War in the army with my uncle. And we took the apartment, and we stayed there. At least we had food to eat. And 2 days later, when we wanted to go back to Frankfurt, the Americans had imposed travel restrictions for civilians. And we had to stay there for 6 weeks. But at least that was 6 weeks that we ate. We got food every day, we ate with the people, and they treated us very well. We went back to Frankfurt. In Frankfurt, again, was the same story. Then finally, another friend of my father took us in, where we had gotten 3 rooms. So we had sort of a little apartment for ourselves. This man also was, he had lost both legs in the First World War. He also had a non-Jewish wife, and that's why he had stayed in Frankfurt. He gave us these rooms. Then we got furniture from things that they took away from Nazis who had fled. And we had beds and a closet and so forth. And this was 1945 in September, I would say. There was no heat. At that time, you only had stoves in each room. There was no coals or anything in Frankfurt. You couldn't get anything. Every person that came back from camp got 100 pounds of wood, but you had to get it in the woods. My father and I went by cart, taking it in Frankfurt through the traffic and everything, back to the house. He stood an entire winter cutting up the wood, even so he didn't see. And the wood you only use at night when you sat down a little bit so the room would get a little warm, because the winter of 45 was very bad and there was absolutely no heat.
What did you live on?
He then got his pension again. We went to the Americans. At that time, the Americans were the bosses. They were in charge of all the offices, and we went to the man who was in charge, the general, I don't know, colonel he was, who was in charge of the administration of Frankfurt. My father went there. He said, "I just came back from camp and I'm getting this pension." And he said, "Whatever you got coming, you're going to get." And he made them pay out the 3 years that we were in camp, that he didn't get anything, and that's what we lived on. And then he got every month his pension again. And then so then we had to start with, you couldn't even get a broom. We had to go through all kinds of hardships just to get a broom to sweep the floor. It was just terrible.